Well, hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Just out in the shop after lunch. I was going to do some research on some things, and then I thought I'd do a video. Um, Defeatist mindset. I think we all have a little bit, or maybe at some point we have it, but the defeatist attitude basically is a negative mindset that as you approach a task, you tell yourself that you can't do the task or the task is incapable. Nobody can do the task. Whatever you need to say to yourself to get yourself to believe that it's not a matter of confidence, right? It's not a fact that you have low confidence. It's just it's incapable. Superman himself couldn't do it. Not true. I'll just say that. So, you talk yourself out of achieving things by telling yourself you are incapable of success, even if you don't have any evidence to support that. Isn't that funny? How we do that to ourselves. We have no rhyme or reason to believe that we are going to fail at this task or goal or whatever the case may be, but yet we envision it so strongly that it can deter us from even trying to achieve that goal, right? So what does it look like? Well, it's pretty much what I just said. You tell your buddy that you're going to make a canoe out of cedar strips, and he says, "Oh, you can't do that. That's really really hard to get the seams tight so it doesn't leak, and you won't know till you're done. So you could waste thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours, and you won't even know if it floats until you're done." And it's just bam, 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 one thing after another piling on to enforce their belief that it can't be done. Some people swing that defeatist mindset, defeatist attitude, they swing it around pretty hard. And it's just tough to even be around some people when they're that negative as far as that goes. There's many, many great examples of that defeatist mindset. I think we can use a really simple example of maybe a young man or a woman who really likes a particular sport and wants to play it in school, but they've never played an organized sport and they never played in a game with these kids or these young adults or whatever the case may be. So they talk themselves down. Oh, I can't compete with these guys. I'm not gonna go out there and get hurt, or just they'll just make up a lot of excuses. And again, it's usually lack of evidence, just kind of off the cuff, saying whatever they need to say, like I said, to just make themselves feel comfortable about not having the confidence to do it, or just not believing that it can be done, period. What might be a liability of a defeatist mindset? I could think of a good one, and that's to never achieve any goals that you have aspirations for. That's a huge liability. You're basically, every day that you don't do a task because you're afraid or whatever, you're shortening your time to perfect anything after the point. So it hinders personal growth really in a big way. You learn a lot from failing. Ironically, you learn probably more than you do succeeding. And I think that's where a lot of people develop their defeatist mindset, because they go out and they try to complete a task that they've never done before, and they fail miserably at it. Well, of course, you never did it before. You're gonna fail miserably. But that doesn't mean you're going to fail at everything every time miserably, or that another person that is going to fail in the same manner as you. It's just not the case. So you got to be careful to not let yourself get into that rut of being content, being very passive. It's a great way to live life, but you can't accomplish extreme goals and extreme things doing that in that type of situation. So how do you even stop it? How do you stop a defeatist mindset? And I don't know, to be honest with you. What I'm going to tell you is what works for me, and what I had to do to kind of rebuild my confidence again after it being shattered a few times in a row. So I'll give you let's go with this. Julie and I wanted to move out to the country. We wanted to live semi self-sustainable. We were looking maybe even do an off-grid. But we were looking in extreme places, I think, in some ways, and we had this outcome of building a big home and everything. And when you share that kind of information, I think people often look at the totality of your goal, so like the whole comprehensive goal as one thing that can or cannot be done. But the reality is, you got to find yourself some little bites. You got to break that big goal down into manageable bites that you can tackle and succeed at, and then slowly build that confidence back. So what would be an example of taking small bites out of my big goal of buying land and living off grid? A good start would be, I'm going to go and talk to realtors in this neighborhood about land that I like. That's a small little goal that you can do probably in 10-15 minutes. Pick up and call someone, stop in at a real estate office and just pick their brains about this community and the properties and things. And it's moving you one step closer to your goal, your big goal. Another example would be, maybe you found the area where you think you want to buy land and build and everything. Don't think it's a big task. It's going to be, I got to find out where I can set it and build it and everything. No, your first task is going to be a small one there. You're going to go to the local municipal building and ask to speak to the code enforcement officer. And you're going to ask questions about code, building code, and ordinances and stuff like that. And that's going to be your small bite. And now you've taken 2 small bites and you're closer to your goal. And you just keep doing that. You keep setting. We've all heard the example of don't set yourself up for failure. Well, the same is true you do need to set yourself up for success. It's we don't do the things we do to do it poorly, right? We don't go to a job to be a loser and do it half-ass and everything. At least you shouldn't. But so you got to build that confidence and build those mini successes up to the point where when you get hit with a new task, or a new big problem, it becomes second nature to say, okay, let's break this down into smaller bites that I can handle. And and this philosophy can be true whether it's one person speaking to his own mind or another person teaching a group. A leader, for example, absolutely cannot have a defeatist attitude. One of the biggest responsibilities of a leader, any leader, whether you got one person underneath you or 1,000 or whatever the case may be, one of the biggest things you can do is be a cheerleader for your subordinates. When time allows, get out into their work environment, spend time with them there, talk to them about their job insecurities and things that they may not feel they confident doing or understanding or whatnot. Just spend a little time and try to see if this defeatist attitude is spreading through the ranks, because it's contagious, just like on the flip side, when you start talking in positive ways and start breaking things down into manageable things, you begin to feel positive and talk positive. So, even as a leader, it's really, really important to not have that defeatist attitude. Men and women aren't going to follow you if they can tell that, you're not confident in your decision making and whatnot. So, incidentally, I realized I say whatnot quite a bit. In one video, I must have said it like 6, 7, 8 times. So you can build that confidence in yourself by doing those small goals, working up, or as a leader, you can build your workforce up that way. Another example would be maybe you got a cable technician who is afraid of heights, right? This is honest to God truth. I had multiple employees that lied on the questioning, and when you got in the field, they were scared of being up 35 feet in the air, With this one guy, Jose, we were in the middle of a job, and I said, what do you mean you don't know how to, you can't go up the ladder, you're scared, and yada. It's like, grab that ladder. And, he grabs it, and we go over to the pole, and I just talked him through. I said, let's first get the ladder at a really good angle set up right. That's your first small bite. Your first goal, your second goal is to get up to about, 5 feet or so, where you can sling your lanyard around or your harness around and secure yourself. That's your second little bite. Now I said, Jose, now you start climbing, and your next bite is going to be the rung you need to stop on to reach the tap. I said, don't look down. I said, just keep looking at the tap. And up the ladder he goes, just looking at the tap, just looking at the tap. That's the only thing he's worried about right now. He's not thinking about how he's going to run it. He's not thinking about falling. He's just thinking about going up and getting to that point. That's his third little bite, And then I showed him how secure it was to be up there. Okay, now Jose, step off the ladder and step onto the main phone line, or step up onto the messenger line for the cable. Go ahead and kick your ladder over. Can you slide down the post? Things like that you can do to install confidence in you guys. But so don't let it spread through your ranks, just as if you don't want it to spread through your mind. And ultimately, what happens when you do exercises like this, where you set yourself up to succeed, you begin to feel like you can't be defeated. Not that you're a superhuman in any way, but you begin to realize that you just got to break the problem down into something that you can do, and do it. And then the next bite, same thing. What can I do? Maybe it's going to be a smaller bite because it's a harder task out of the overall goal. Maybe it's easy because it's a simple task out of the overall goal. So work on these things and exercise that train of thought. Don't be the person that when somebody comes to share good news, you start poking holes in and bursting their bubble because you yourself are already defeated, you know. Don't be that person. I can't stand when I'm talking to somebody and they start rambling on about how it can't be done or they can't do it. And yeah, you can. You haven't even friggin' tried it. You haven't even tried it, and you're saying you can't do it. It just grinds my gear, you know. So get out there and try it. Get out there, move that mountain one pebble at a time. Eat the elephant one forkful at a time. And you'll never be defeated again. It's, I don't want to say it's a step program, but it's very much like a step program, and you just take it, you know, bit by bit by bit. Don't try to chew off or bite off more than you can chew. I guess that's how I wanted to say it. So, you know, I had multiple videos I had watched, and I had this queued up, and I had my image picture in picture with one of the videos, and I was listening to the fellow discuss, and I was discussing along with him, you know, conversating. And for some reason, when I uploaded it both times, I did it twice, it removed the audio from the other gentleman's track, you know, his audio. So I took that video out completely, and now you just have me talking, so I apologize for that. But it was a really, really interesting video, and I wonder how often folks think of this. How often do they catch themselves in that situation where you're being negative and not, you know, not being truthful in what you really can do and what you can't. So, but thanks again for watching, and I know this content kind of is ebbing and flowing, and I'm still trying to find my niche, if you will. Match intellect, not battle intellect, but just I love a good conversation, a good thoughtful conversation, you know. And that's kind of what I feel these videos are doing for me. And for any one of you all watching, I absolutely appreciate it, because you know, I'm not just talking to myself anymore. I have someone else to talk to. So, okay, if you got it in your heart, like and subscribe. If you don't, that's okay too. Thanks for watching anyhow.